Well, I gotta say, this has possibly the worst musical audition for anything I've ever seen. And that was the whole idea. And that's what's terrifying about it. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to yet another installment of TV Thoughts. Today on the docket is Season 2 of Schitt's Creek. I was really excited to check this out. The first season was very fun with a captivating cliffhanger, so let's jump right in. After the end of the first season and their failed attempts to sell the town, the Roses are starting to realize that their stay in Schitt's Creek may be longer than they originally hoped. Big storylines this season include Johnny continuing to look for ways to extricate his family from life in their sad little town, Moira searching for ways to grace the town with her sophistication and taste, including a foray into politics. Oh dear. And David and Alexis must do the unthinkable. Find jobs. So this was another very fun season of Schitt's Creek, guys. And just like I predicted in my last installment talking about this series, way better than Season 1. I think the direction and the editing is something I didn't exactly touch on a whole bunch in the first installment. It is really great. The editing especially, very razor sharp, very precise, which I think is really helpful to help accentuate the quick nature of this comedy. And speaking of quick, the writing. Oh my gosh, the writing this season is even better. Still retains that razor-sharp wit that I loved so much about it in Season 1. Honestly, this is some of my favorite comedic writing in television today. Now, Dan Levy also writes a few episodes this season, and you could honestly tell. Not even from the opening credits just telling you that the episode was written by him, but you could just tell from the words and the way they were delivered. I didn't even need to look at those little credits, you know, those little subtitles that you see underneath after the cold open? I didn't even need those to tell me that Dan Levy wrote the episode. I could just listen to the words. But yeah, you guys already knew how great these technicals were. But the thing I loved so much about Season 2 is that I felt myself starting to get behind some of these characters more and more. Not all of them, though. Oh no, not all of them. Just a warning, there may be a rant incoming about one of them, so... But let's go ahead and start with the positives, as always. Eugene Levy, first of all. Once again, hilarious as Johnny. This may feel like an apples and oranges analogy here, so bear with me. His acting in this feels like it's a Neil Simon farce. And I think that's part of the reason why I find this show as funny as it is, because I am a huge fan of Neil Simon. Everything around him is so outlandish, yet he treats every single situation as if it's the be-all, end-all. He just takes everything so seriously. And that's the whole idea of a farce. Everything is just ridiculous, but the characters are selling these things as a life-and-death situation. And Levy just has a wonderful grasp of that idea. But what makes his performance all the better here is that he doesn't detract from the ridiculousness of the situation. There's one bit in a certain episode where Alexis accidentally orders a dozen kegs of milk when she was just supposed to order little pints. And Eugene Levy's reaction as Johnny was just... oh man, it was honestly everything I could have asked for in that moment. Not only his reaction, but Annie Murphy also sold that moment super well. And speaking of, I am really happy to say that I'm really starting to get behind Alexis. I thought Annie Murphy was great once again. She was even funnier this season than she was last time. Now, she does come off very superficial a lot of the time, but you can tell that deep down there's still a genuineness to her. And I think the reason why I was so behind her this time is because of her extended involvement within her immediate family. Especially with David, who I'll get to in a minute, surely. Now sure, she still has some romantic forays along the way, and she is definitely very wishy-washy in certain situations. Better yet, she's very wishy-washy about who she wants to pursue. Which, speaking of, I mean, poor f***ing Ted, man. But you know what? Good for him for making chicken salad out of chicken shit. But the thing is, with Ted's storyline, I don't even mind it. Because unlike Mutt, who just seems like Alexis's one-night stand, let's just be honest here. At least with Ted, Alexis is able to recognize that she's making mistakes. And it actually looks like they might be able to rekindle the relationship. I don't know, again, I've only watched up to Season 2, so those of you who've watched the whole series already might think I'm completely dumb for thinking this. But I'm really digging this chemistry that they have. I found their chemistry in the vet office really underratedly fun, actually. But of course, with Alexis, I also have to mention that here we get probably the first of many times this one-liner is uttered in the series. Ew, David. Ew, David. Dan Levy as David, by the way, is confirmed to be my favorite character. I mean, it's not even close. Dan Levy is so awesome. I mean, his commentary and his sharp wit, any scenario he's put into, all of those moments are just comedic gold. Not even gold, comedic platinum, man. You can tell I really like the sarcastic characters. It's not only that, but the thing I respect the most about David is that he is not afraid to voice his honest opinions. He is very blunt, and he is not afraid to call things as he sees them. And that is no more apparent in the whole sequence that he has shopping with Roland, played by Elliott. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's that whole sequence in the blouse barn where they're searching for Jocelyn's anniversary gift. And right in front of the owner, David calls a lot of those clothes skanky. And you know what's amazing about that moment? I just thought it was going to be another run-of-the-mill little sequence with him. But he actually ends up working for the blouse barn. And he ends up being pretty freaking successful. I mean, good lord, only in a farcical piece like this can you get a job for insulting the products that they're selling in an honest way. I mean, I don't know, guys. This stuff may be genius. Oh yeah, but remember that captivating cliffhanger from Season 1 I mentioned at the top of the video? Yeah, that was kind of resolved in sloppy fashion this season. And when I say sloppy, I mean they solved it like poof. Like, instantly it was solved. But, I mean, that's the nature of sitcoms, I guess. You only get 22 minutes per episode to solve big issues. I don't know, though. That was a pretty big plot point that they just kind of... It felt like they glossed over it. That's just how I felt. Okay, speaking of how I felt, let's address Moira, shall we? Let me just clear the air right now before everybody gets really mad at me down in the comments. I do not mind Catherine O'Hara's performance whatsoever. I actually think she's quite phenomenal in this part. She definitely captures the true essence of this character. But do you remember how in my Season 1 TV thoughts I said I was really fascinated to see how she was going to turn out? Well, not anymore, because I now officially cannot fucking stand Moira. Like, I'm serious. Her whole arc this season feels like she's just feeding her own ego. Like, she has to make everything about herself. Just to give you an example, there's a point where Alexis comes down with the flu, right? But Moira comes into the room to ask if she needs to do anything for her because, you know, she has to care for her daughter, right? But she says that in a way where she makes it about herself and not about her sick daughter laying there. And then when she does go in to check on her, Alexis is like asking her to check her fever and she won't even touch her because she's afraid she'll get sick. And keep in mind, guys, this storyline was not taking place during this pandemic. She was only looking out for her own well-being. And there's also one point where she auditions for the female choir in town, the Jazzagals. Pretty clever. And she doesn't think that she needs to audition for the Jazzagals because her claim to fame is that she was in the original Broadway cast ensemble of Starlight Express. Which, by the way, for those of my fellow theater geeks out there, you are certainly well aware that Starlight Express is not something to be proud of. But, nevertheless, she has to audition because those are the rules. And it's fair to say she was exposed. Brutally exposed. Now, she does have some development in this season. She runs for town council against Jocelyn, who quits fairly quickly, actually. I mean, the result is pretty funny. Catherine O'Hara does sell it very well, like she's terrified of the concept of working with this mayor. But here's the thing. In real life, I would never want to associate myself with a person like Moira. But you know what? I think if that was Catherine O'Hara's intent, that just goes to show you how phenomenal she is at her job. Now, aside from my concerns, if you can call it that, the only other real problem I had with this season was its ending. Now, to me, how this season wrapped up, I'm not exactly gonna spoil it just in case, but it almost felt like an ending to the whole series. Like, if it stopped here, it would actually be a pretty decent way to end it all. But, you know, I can still see why Season 3 exists, because they did leave some loose ends that need to be tied up eventually. But hey, we'll see how it goes with Season 3, but for right now, I really enjoyed Season 2, guys. I'm gonna give it an A-. And I'll tell you what, guys, these binge sessions of Schitt's Creek are flying by. I'm sure that has something to do with the shorter runtime of each episode, but, I mean, funny characters, funny writing. I mean, I cannot wait to keep discussing this show with you guys, and I hope you all are as excited as I I am to keep discussing this. Now, again, I must remind you, I don't have a set schedule for this. These will just come out whenever I finish binging a season. So keep an eye out for them. Do you guys enjoy Schitt's Creek? Do you not? Who's your favorite character also? I would love to discuss all of those thoughts down in the comment section below. If you guys are enjoying this content and you guys want to continue supporting the channel, if you want to hear more of my thoughts about cinema and all things entertainment, this is definitely the place to do it. And I ask that you please consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can, because first of all, it's free, and number two, if you subscribe, you lovely people will be the first ones to know whenever I upload a new video over here. And hey, also, just one more reminder, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a big thumbs up on your way out. If you guys want to continue discussing Schitt's Creek, those likes are a really good indicator for me. I'd really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for tuning in, as always. Look out for more exciting content hitting the channel very, very soon. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.